Hello there, welcome to this week's edition of Eye on Port, proudly brought to you by Ghana Community Network Services, Ghana Oil Company Limited and West Blue Consulting. People, this week we are taking you back to the issues of customs as my colleague Samuel Ajiman engages the Tema Sector Commander on the customs clearance procedures and the paperless processes.
The paperless began last year, September. A lot of computations, a lot of putting in declarations online and all of that. Is it that smooth?
Is it that smooth? Yes, but we are yet to do evaluation, which we're going to do now. After which I will tell you whether it was smooth before the evaluation and it's going to be smoother after the evaluation.
But at least you have a rough idea.
Yeah. Oh yes, it's
people
working.
Walk in and out of your room with complaints.
Yes.
Don't they?
Yeah. Few complaints will come on. As I said, at times if it's not a technical hitch, okay, then it's somebody's error. Okay, that is it, technical hitch or somebody's error. But in all this, we make sure within a short time we rectify situations to enable the process flow.
There are concerns that people are still using papers, working with you, trying to clear their goods. A lot of papers are still flying around as far as your processes are concerned. Why should it be if we have gone paperless?
That is a good question. That is a good question. Yes, when it comes to the process itself, coming from our angle, our side, customs, no officer does demand paper before working for a declarant. Just with the declaration number, everything, we have everything on the machine.
Is that the case?
All the data, everything, the information that the officer needs in order to process the declaration is there.
So it means that you are saying that no clearing agent should walk to any of the officers, for instance, here in Tema or anywhere else, with a paper, and you expect them still to be served?
We have educated everybody. We've told them that it's not mandatory. Nobody is compelling anybody.
Then why don't you insist that do not bring any paper before any officer?
They are aware. We have notices there, but some of them.
But your officers are also collecting the papers and working with the papers.
For the convenience of it, I would prefer holding the paper. The story some of them are telling me is that
some of your officers.
No, I'm talking about the agents, and then that the importers always demand, because they don't have access to the GMIS or our system anyway. The importers will definitely demand, to the extent that even somebody walked to my office on Monday that I should endorse the hard copy of the declaration for him, because the importer,
that's what the importer is demanding.
Yes, that was what exactly.
So it means
these
that
are some of the issues.
It means that you're asking for the papers.
Yeah, but when it comes to the process itself, the clearance process,
it's all electronic.
Within the chain, it's all electronic.
I see.
It's all electronic. But should somebody decide to print the hard copy, and then and then that one is between the declarant and then his importer or the client.
So it means that though the papers are flying in the port, what you are saying is that it's not because they need to use the papers to deal with the officers, but they are getting those papers just so they can make it available to their clients.
That is the explanation most of them give. But here within the process, everything is electronic. We communicate electronically. I sit here, I communicate to my officers electronically. Should there be a declaration, I will just use the internal remarks to communicate to the CCOD or my 2IC on the issues. And the agent will not be able to read whatever we are communicating. By the end of it, they are saved. Yeah, they are saved.
They raised issues about the Joint Inspection Management Information System, that's the GMIS, saying that at that level, for instance, your officers make a lot of requests as far as the hard copy is concerned, and more often than not, the system there is not working.
I had a meeting with the GIF executive about 3 days ago.
President of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders.
Yes, so I've asked them to come to me whenever there are say demands.
And but you know that was that concern.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, that should somebody make it a mandatory requirement for an agent to submit a hard copy before working. They should just report to us. I don't know. There might be other documents. Maybe an officer wants to see a picture of a commodity. Okay, a picture of a commodity that he's working on, and the agent has it. Fine, that one is maybe a manual a manual, going to use the manual to explain, or in the course of examination something is not clear and there's a manual, that is not part of the, no, that manual is not part of declaration. Okay, so that is a different case altogether. But talking about declaration and then documents, the trade documents, it's not mandatory. Nobody is under any obligation. No agent or importer is under any obligation
to produce a paper document. No. But again, yes, I agree to that bit. But I would also request, why is it, or find out why is it difficult for you to tell your officers that you are not allowed to demand any paper from anyone, and should they bring, actually let them take it back?
Yes, we have asked them not to do that, and then they face sanctions. Should
Good.
They do that?
So the officers face sanctions if they accept
They
papers.
are aware that.
Wow.
Yes, they know they face sanctions.
Why are people still holding papers and running around all over and claiming as if the paperless is not working?
That is a picture out there, but you walk through and you see that, well, you see them on the field, the agent on the field holding his papers. You cannot ask the agent to drop the paper because it's paperless there, since you don't know the paper is holding. But once the agent approaches the officer, the agent is advised not to send any document to the officer. The officer has been advised and warned, and the officers know. The officers know, and I know most of them are complying.
The agents have also raised something very serious, that the compliance is delayed. Then sometimes there had even been allegations of corruption, that even though the area of compliance was taken out of the Tema port and sent to the headquarters, just so that the officers who handle compliance will not have any face-to-face connection with the agents. They are still saying that in spite of that effort, there's still some bit of contact and corruption still happening. Has this come to your notice?
I cannot speak to that because I don't have any evidence to that. And that's
but has this come to your notice?
No.
I see.
Okay, no, not formally anyway.
But informally, have you heard this?
Informally, we hear a lot of allegations.
Then do you make effort to investigate them?
Informally,
and see if there's any truth
we
in
hear
it?
a lot of allegations. Yeah, so at a meeting about 3 weeks ago, we had a customs management meeting. Some of these issues were discussed. These issues were discussed, and I know the commissioner has taken it up. Okay. But some of these allegations, we just...
That people are still sending mobile monies to faceless officers. You haven't heard this. It's sad to hear, but if there are rumors, there can be some truth in them and worth investigating.
There can be, but I know most of my officers are doing the right thing. They are doing the right thing, and they are working. They are working hard.
Recently, there were a lot of media publications that freight forwarders are complaining that things are expensive. Are things expensive, or have things become a lot more expensive than it used to be because of paperless?
No, but I mean, what I can say, because of compliance levels.
How did that come about?
Because if you are declaring the correct value,
yes,
and it's based on the value we apply the rate, which has not changed,
yeah,
definitely the duty amount will not be the same. It will be higher. And then now it's paperless, so if hitherto you were able to
beat the system,
to doctor a hard copy,
yeah,
okay, to beat the system, now no officer is going to rely on your hard copy that has been doctored. All right, the officer will rather go to the system.
The real
so you now paying the real. It's difficult for you. It will be difficult for you, to cheat.
So you think it's because they were cheating then?
Well,
that's why they are saying that things are more expensive.
I can't generalize it.
Okay.
I cannot generalize it.
But you are saying that they are now paying what is
supposed to pay. If not, then there will be some slight deviation. Okay, the variance will not be that wide. They are paying by no.
Has any amount that they used to pay before increased vis-a-vis pre-paperless era?
No, as I said, duty rates have not increased. Rather, when it comes to automobile spare parts, even the rate is now 0. Nothing.
And it used to be what?
It used to be 10, but now it's 0. So nothing has increased.
What do you mean by duty rate is now 0? It means that no duty rate on...
No import duty rate on spare parts
yes.
Since it was abolished last year.
Okay. So again, back to the fact that things are now expensive than it used to be. You are saying that nothing of that shows.
Well, I cannot, talking about the transaction cost, whether it's gone up or down, I wouldn't know the transaction at the port.
No,
because a lot. That's what I'm saying. From
customs,
I'm saying from customs.
Yes.
If people
because
complain
you are
of
the
high
ones
duties,
they are complaining about, because the Port Authority, for instance, said that since 2015 they hadn't increased any tariff. That meant that handling charges had not been increased. No charges from the Port Authority had been increased. If customs is also saying that no rate has gone up ever since paperless, then we are expecting that nothing should have gone up, no price increase.
What maybe might have gone up is what I said, where people are paying the right amount of duty they are supposed to pay. Are you getting the point?
Yes. That is the only thing.
That is the only
maybe
thing.
you were not being sincere then, and now the system is opening up.
That is the only thing. But when it comes to other transactions, transaction taxes or charges or cost, I wouldn't be able to speak to that, because as I said, the activities, the clearance chain, customs is within the clearance chain, but there are other agencies, and then so all those ones I cannot compute.
Yes.
But
for customs,
to the best of my customs, we have not.
All rates are standard.
We have not increased any of our rates, and we have not introduced any new rate. It's the same old rate since 2016. We started implementing the CET. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
That was Sami and the Tema Sector Commander. We are still focusing on the paperless issue as the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism engages stakeholders on the paperless issues. The Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism has held its second stakeholders engagement to offer a platform for organizations involved in the paperless clearance process at the country's ports to brief the committee on how they have implemented the paperless process so far.
Now we believe it is about time for us to take stock, to inform ourselves, to know what the challenges are, what are the possible suggestions to rectify or correct any challenges therein, so that we can continue to have a successful policy program.
It would be recalled that the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, at a port efficiency conference in May 2017, issued 3 directives which included the removal of all custom barriers on the transit corridor, joint inspection at the ports, and operating a paperless port. All the directives, which were to improve efficiency at the ports and reduce time of clearance, took effect on 1st September 2017. According to the Vice Chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism, Ato Pamford, the engagement has become necessary to assess some challenges regarding the implementation of the paperless policy so that some solutions would be preferred. The Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority admitted that there have been some challenges associated with the joint inspections at the ports.
That facility is not working well. What it's supposed to do is to allow the trader to schedule examination and inform 1, the custom officers, 2, the terminal operator, 3, if there are any other regulatory agencies like Food and Drugs Authority, to inform them that I am ready for examination at this time, at this place, and therefore I'm inviting you. Sometimes the information doesn't flow through.
However, the Commissioner of Customs, Isaac Crensel, asserted that the paperless system, since its implementation, has sealed some revenue leakages.
Of course, when the paperless project came in, so many of these, I would say, potholes or laxities or weaknesses were sealed. Because first, with respect to compliance, we thought that it was very, very important that we move the compliance out of the phase of our other stakeholders, because so many things were happening at that level. So that was the first place to move them to customs headquarters in Accra here, to prevent of them from influencing or manipulating our officers.
Kawasaki, Product Manager, Ghana Community Network Services, outlined some challenges they have identified.
We also have many complaints where we get the preventive officers, and I think it's not only limited to preventive officers, but there are many other agencies also operating where once the clearance release has been done, they also stop the agent and they are asking for stamped entries to show that the consignments have been released.
He said GCNet is working with other stakeholders to ensure that challenges in the clearance process are addressed.
GRA actually has set up a committee as well, involving all the stakeholders to review the clearance process to be able to iron out some of the challenges we've talked about here.
From the perspective of the freight forwarders, inadequate training and transmission of data issues were some of the challenges the freight forwarders identified.
The first and foremost challenge was the issue of training, because there was not enough time to train the users of the system, and in that particular case I'm talking about the agents themselves, so that most of what we do were a bit ad hoc.
The committee sought to know if GPHA has access to monitor the tariffs charged by other service providers.
GPHA, do you have a reasonable system that assesses services of all the service providers at the port and how taxes or levies or fees can be charged, which is consistent with the services provided?
I have not come across the issue where the customers are, the clients are raising the issue they are raising with MPS tariff. So I have not been able to examine or to compare the rate. We've not been able to compare it, but from here we will do that and then communicate.
Have you checked that the tariffs that MPS are charging? Are you very much aware of the tariffs that they charge?
I am not much aware of what they are charging, but it is expected that they use the port tariff, nothing else.
The committee tasked GPHA to ensure that charges by some service providers which are not consistent with GPHA approved tariffs are scrapped.
It's in our ultimate interest that the cost of doing business in Ghana be low.
What we do is that when MPS releases the containers to our terminal areas, we do not unpack anything from the container, therefore we do not charge the partial. We are only cutting seal and allowing the custom officers to site. So our charges are considerably low. So that's how we are operating. For our terminal areas, that is exactly what we are doing. Everything is from the tariff and is transparent to the freight forwarders.
The IT officer at GPHA, Francis Marfo, assured the committee that he would furnish them with tariffs of the various service providers as soon as possible. Let's move away from the paperless issues. The ministers of roads and highways, railways and transport visited the port to see how best they can improve on their various sectors.
Stakeholder ministries, departments and agencies have begun discussions to construct an 8-lane highway to link the port of Tema from the Tema Community 3 traffic light, where the new expanded Tema port is located, through the General Hospital Road to the Ashaman overhead end of the motorway. Ahead of the impending monumental project, which also seeks to effectively integrate the rail system into the transportation modes of the harbour city of Tema, the Ministers of Transport, Roads and Highways, as well as Railways, and their respective technical team have pledged to collaborate to ensure the success of the project and other projects, including construction of rail lines, as part of efforts to boost the port business in Ghana. A delegation comprising the Minister of Transport Kweku Ofori-Esiama, Minister of Roads and Highways Kwesi Amuakwata, and Minister of Railways Joe Gate, among other officials, met with the Director General of Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority Paul Asariansa and CEO of MPS Mohammed Samara to discuss progress in the direction of the various projects. Touching on the 8-lane road construction from the Tema General Hospital to the port, the Roads and Highways Minister said the project, when completed, will be beneficial to the port, Tema, and the progress of Ghana as a whole. He expressed his ministry's unflinching support for the integration of a good rail system to support the port expansion project.
As the port expansion is going on, the required road construction and the railway lines must all start and get on simultaneously, so that by the time the project comes to completion, we would have also had a very good road network and railway network.
The Minister of Railways recognized the importance of railway construction in trade facilitation and also relieving traffic congestion in the port city of Tema. Hence, solicited the support of the Port Authority and MPS to assist the rail sector.
We don't want this very important development become a curse in disguise, because if you can't move, those who know Indonesia and so on tell you, if you can't move, you can't move. I mean, and so I'm so happy that we are meeting as well.
Kweku Ofori-Esiama, Transport Minister, lauded the effective collaboration between GPHA and MPS in bringing about the port expansion, which will have a rail system and hopefully the impending 8-lane highway construction.
So in giving the concession to MPS, we realize that we cannot achieve the ultimate benefit of that project without developing the road. So as part of an agreement with them and as part of the concession, we came to agreement with them that, look, this project will come on, but we must make sure that the hospital road is also constructed to cater for the traffic. So I think for the past 1 or 2 years, there have been ups and downs in terms of what is that we need to do with the Ministry of Roads and Highway to see that we get this project kick start.
Mohammed Samara, CEO of MPS, updated the delegation on the progress of the ongoing Tema Port expansion, which has some rail component.
Rail is not yet, it's in concept. We don't have detailed designs for it, because this will rely on the rail operator, what kind of gauge, what kind of this. So there is a lot of feasibility studies that will require input from the successful bidder or operator of the rail itself. But we have allocated the space and we have done the preliminary designs for that in terms of like layout, concept, etc., etc. Detailed engineering obviously needs to be done at a later stage.
He stated that with the necessary authorization given, MPS is ready to accelerate processes to bring the conception into action. Mohammed Samara said with the full representation of infrastructural plans come 2020, including the railway system, the Tema port will be comparable to none in the sub-region.
On that note, Eye on Port returns after the break.
Hello. Good morning, this is Samantha Wendy. I am sending a purchase order from SA2 Ventures International. Our policy for new supplies is 2 containers to start with, but you must deliver within 30 days.
Don't worry at all. I'm going to get you the 4 containers within 30 days or less.
Bye. To get his pineapple slices from his country to his clients overseas, Mr. Appiah and his representatives have to complete a number of regulatory compliance procedures to various international trade stakeholders.
Hey, Baba, what's going on? Get it right? I mean, how?
Hey. Using single window, Mr. Appiah has completed all his international trade procedures through one portal. He has registered his company information, applied for the necessary permit, certificates and licenses, and all that remains is for him to get a text alert for clearance and movement of goods. And that's how simple facilitating international trade could be in a single window environment. You can offer competitive services to your trading partners in China, America, even here in a simpler, faster, and cost-effective way. Single window. The only way to Ghana's economic growth is in our hands.
When cleaning your vehicle by valeting, steaming, waxing, or polishing, make sure the engine is also sound. Servicing your vehicle with GOIL synthetic oil and any quality GOIL oil massages the engine, removes deposit, protects it from wear and tear for longer lasting performance, and makes your vehicle feel pampered. Made for diesel and super engines. Remember, after every 15,000 kilometers of enjoying your ride, service your engine with GOIL synthetic oil.
We are a champion. That's why I, Azuma Nelson, 3 times world boxing champion and a patriot, always choose GOIL.
Ashene Pankasa. GOIL, good energy.
Welcome back from the break. News and activities happening in and around the port next.
A delegation from the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, led by their Managing Director, Samuel Boachi Apia, has paid a visit to the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to honor the institution with a plaque in appreciation of the Ports Authority's consistent compliance to electricity best practices and being a major contributor of the company's revenue. The Director General of Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Paul Asariansa, acknowledged the good partnership between his organization and the Electricity Company and meeting each other at their various points of need. He expressed his faith in the continued relationship, considering that the port expansion would need a wider electricity coverage. He assured that GPHA would continue to fulfill their obligations to the Electricity Company of Ghana to sustain the growth of Mother Ghana.
The leading oil marketing company in Ghana, GOIL, has held a fuel handling training exercise for fuel officers, ISO officers, fuel attendants, plant operators, and staff of logistics and audit departments of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. The exercise, according to the materials manager of Tema Port, was organized to ensure higher safety standards in the receipt and supply of fuel for port activity.
Our equipment are very expensive, and we want to make sure that the diesel we are putting in those expensive equipment are of good quality, and we should in no way, as people serving the authority, contribute to its contamination or whatever.
Joseph Adongo, Tamazonal manager, said it has been GOIL's agenda to provide an in-depth education to all the corporate entities they supply fuel on the products they work with and the right methods of handling it.
First of all, the knowledge of the product, because if we don't know the products that we are dealing with, it will be difficult to handle it, or we might handle it in the wrong way. So we would have a little lesson about the product knowledge. Then we also have a lesson on how to discharge according to standard practice, according to the standard requirement.
The attendants were taken through a thorough presentation of the petroleum products and the whole chain of procurement, refinement, and supply. They were also coached through conventional safety practices that are necessary in the business by the quality assurance and distribution managers of GOIL. The staff were entreated to exercise a high adherence to fire and safety precautions in their exchanges without compromise to maintain a safe environment to work in. At the fuel station, GPHA fuel attendants were taught how to accurately undergo their discharge procedure from GOIL tankers. Methods of measuring and analyzing deliveries were illustrated by technicians. GOIL also introduced the availability of the fuel laboratory van in the case of any need to analyze the quality of fuel. The GPHA officials expressed pleasure with the exercise and showed support to keep patronizing GOIL products for the best service. International news next.
The 50,000 deadweight tonnage Lazen docked at the port of Abidjan's WAR 15. The port said that the nickel ore came from a mine located in Fongbeso in the region of Bafing. Fongbeso nickel mine is the first in Ivory Coast as well as in Africa. Therefore, Lazen is the first nickel ship to arrive in the country. Italian authorities seized up to 300 kilograms of cocaine from a container ship berthed at the port of Genoa, according to a statement issued by the country's police department. According to Denau Shipping, the ship owner, the crew of the 3,430 TEU Dimitri C, found the drugs following a search on February 15, 2018. Genoa Police Department said the cocaine was hidden in some 20 plastic bags in a remote place on deck. A new report issued by Dynama is showing that China's COSCO Shipping specialized carrier, COSCO SSC, has become the world's largest multi-purpose operator with its existing fleet totaling 1.76 million tons. In addition, the company has one 38,000 deadweight tonnage unit on order. However, having reduced its fleet by 13 to 146 ships, Germany's BBC Chartering has returned to the second place on the list of 10 largest multi-purpose carriers.
When cleaning your vehicle by valeting, steaming, waxing or polishing, make sure the engine is also sound. Servicing your vehicle with GOIL synthetic oil and any quality GOIL oil massages the engine, removes deposit, protects it from wear and tear for longer lasting performance, and makes your vehicle feel pampered. Made for diesel and super engines. Remember, after every 15,000 kilometers of enjoying your ride, service your engine with GOIL synthetic oil.
We're a champion. That's why I, Azuma Nelson, 3 times world boxing champion and a patriot, always choose GOIL.
Ashene Pankasa. GOIL, good energy.
Schedules of vessels sitting in the port, those at anchorage and those expected in the coming week, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rate next. For this week's edition of Eye on Port. Thank you for watching and see you same time next week.